Good morning, this is Rick. I'm here in beautiful Central Florida, and I really wanted to talk today about some hope, real hope, hope that will really bring results. But as I was praying this morning about it came to my heart that for hope to really work, the hope that we read about in the Bible, we need to forgive. Sometimes unforgiveness is what's holding back the blessings. Sometimes we need to forgive ourselves, and that could be difficult sometimes. Sometimes we need to forgive our neighbors, friends, family members, um, even people that already have passed away and don't even exist anymore. But there might be still a lot of unforgiveness in the heart. And without even realizing, this unforgiveness hinders us from progressing in life, from going forward. And we don't even realize this. It's like weight on you that you don't really need. So we really have to think clearly. Is it worth it? Is it worth holding on to grudges? Sometimes we need to pray and ask God, search my heart. Sorry about that. Search my heart. See if you find anything that's unclean in me. There might be something that happened to you when you were a child and it just caused some kind of trauma in your life. And you're not really aware of the effects, of the ripple effects that it caused to your life, to the way you think. So these are the things that we have to bring to God. And with this coronavirus that's going on around the world, I was thinking as I was coming over here to this park here, it's like unforgiveness. One person that doesn't forgive, let's say, I'll give you an example, like in a family, and tends to carry that unforgiveness, they'll pass that on. Most likely they'll pass that on to the very people they love the most. It'll affect their spouse. It'll hurt their own children. Okay, and then it keeps on, and it keeps on, and it keeps on, and it's passed down. And it becomes part of sometimes even part of the community or part of the culture. And you'll see this trademark in some families. And it's a tragedy. It's horrible. It's things that happened maybe 100 years ago. And I'm talking about in my own family, from my father's side. And I've seen this. I've heard of stories, things that have happened before I was even born, generations behind me. I didn't even met these people. I never met them. I don't even know how they look. But I heard of all these negative stories. So I can tell you by experience, holding on to unforgiveness will cause so much damage. It's sad. I just got to say, it's real sad. Okay? And just like the coronavirus has spread all over the globe almost, this is what unforgiveness does. We see how different religions have so much, unfortunately, hatred against each other. Different governments, even people holding on to things that have happened to their people. Maybe racism. It just keeps going on, keeps going on, keeps going on. It just never ends. But I want to challenge you today to go before the Lord, ask Him to take that away from you. Know that it's going to hinder. You know what's the biggest problem about unforgiveness? Jesus Christ Himself said, if you don't forgive, you can't be forgiven either. Now, if your mother doesn't forgive you, your spouse, your children, it's horrible. It's a horrible pain. Something that you'll pay for the rest of your life because someone that you love dearly holds a grudge against you. Maybe they were right, maybe they were wrong. Doesn't matter. But when God won't forgive you, there's a problem, because there will be eternal consequences. And if you read Matthew chapter 18, Jesus gave a clear teaching of unforgiveness. And I challenge you to read Matthew 18. And I'll just give you a little story of it, a little part of the story, okay? A little part of the teaching. But I challenge you to read it. Pray before you read it and ask God to speak to your heart. Okay? Maybe you don't have a problem with unforgiveness, but I'm sure you know someone that does. Maybe you're not even aware of it. But there are people around us that struggle with this issue. And this is a major, major problem. It affects, like I said, not just in the natural, but it'll affect you spiritually. It'll cause eternal consequences, okay? There's people that don't reach half of the potential of their life here because they're carrying this weight. But you know, when you forgive, it's like a river flowing. It's a blessing, okay? Maybe you're called to be a writer, to write books that's going to benefit people. But because you have this unforgiveness in you, it's hindering your vision. Maybe you're called to be a singer. And maybe you are singing, but you're not singing to the full potential because there's this blockage within you. So read Matthew 18, and let me just tell you a little bit about it. Jesus gave a story, okay, about a man that owed the king a lot of money. He was in high debt. The king called him into his presence. He wanted to settle this account with him. The servant who was called by the king to pay up didn't have the money. Now, different people will say different amount of money. It's not really that important how much he owed. The important thing is there was a lot, too much for him to pay at the moment, beyond his means. And the king was going to throw him in jail, along with his family. You know, I know this is hard, but this was going to happen. This was going to be the consequence. And again, when you don't forgive, you pass that down to your kids. So we could talk about this king and say, oh, he was too harsh. Why did the family have to pay for it? Well, that's probably what God is telling you. Why does your family have to pay for you holding a grudge? Why do you children have to pay? Why does everybody around you that you love and care for have to pay? And you are affecting them. And as time goes by, you will affect them even more. Okay, it starts small, but it tends to keep growing. And a lot of times you're not even aware. You're not aware of a lot of the decisions you make and a lot of the reactions you have that are hurtful and mean. It's because of the pain you have inside. And that pain is not going to go until you forgive. And for you to forgive, sometimes you really, really need God's help because, sorry about that. Sometimes for you to forgive, you need God's help, like I was saying, because it's just so painful. It's beyond you, okay? But this is where God's love will come in and help you. God will give you the grace, but you have to have a will. You have to ask God to help you in this situation, okay? And if you're willing to ask God sincerely, He'll do it. Because the last thing God wants is for you to carry that pain. And the last thing God wants is for you to lose your eternal salvation because of it. Okay? If Jesus said clearly, if you don't forgive, you can't be forgiven by God, hey, you better take that at face value, okay? And I say that with love, I say that with a lot of care, and I want to be sensitive to you because I know there's a lot of things that have happened to a lot of people things that I've heard, wow, you know, so I understand, okay? I understand. Some things are just beyond the human ability, the human strength, but God will give you the strength to forgive, okay? So now, this king, when he calls this man to pay up, he couldn't pay him. The king was going to cast judgment on him and his family. But The man begged for mercy. And guess what? He was compassion. He was compassionate towards this man and his family. And he forgave him and cleared his debt completely. This is what God does. When you humble yourself and you ask God for forgiveness, okay, He will sincerely forgive you. He will not hold it against you anymore. He won't bring it up. He won't keep sending you a bill in the mail or emailing you. He'll let it go, sincerely, because the way God's heart is He's like a kid at heart. You know, kids when they're little, they can forgive easily. All right, and they act like nothing happened. They'll continue to play with you and laugh with you. As we get older, the struggle comes on. But God's heart is like a child's heart in a way. Okay, He forgives easily. All right, He delights in forgiving. He delights in having compassion, mercy. This is why He sent His Son. John 3:16. God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. This is God's desire, to forgive. Okay? All you have to do is let God help you so you can forgive, so you can be forgiven. And just imagine what could happen when you forgive. Okay, even if it's the minor things, don't let little things come between you and God. Okay, just ask God to search you and to help you. Okay, so here this man, he's happy because he's forgiven. He doesn't owe any more money. Okay, now he runs into somebody that owes him money, and he grabs him by the neck, threatens him. The man begs for mercy. And this evil servant of the king did not want to forgive. Had this man thrown in jail, and the king got wind of it. And let me tell you, he rebuked that evil servant. Told him, shouldn't you have mercy also, like I show mercy on you? And guess what happened? The king threw that man in jail. The consequences of him not forgiving the debt of another person fell on him. Now, do you want that to happen to you? No, you don't. So read Matthew chapter 18. Ask God to give you strength. You know, the scripture, one of the beautiful things about the Holy Scripture, that God supports it 100%. It's not just a regular book. It's not a historical book. Okay? It's not a fairy tale book. It's a real living word. Jesus said, the words that I speak, they are spirit and they are life. They are transforming words. There are words that will give you power and strength. That's why before you read Matthew 18, pray. Okay, pray to God that He will speak to you. Because when God speaks, He's speaking strength into you. He'll give you the grace to be able to receive His word, if you're willing, so you can fulfill His purpose, and His purpose is to bless you. Jesus said that it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, His kingdom. Not man's kingdom that perishes, but God's kingdom that is eternal. So with this, I'm going to leave you. I love you. God bless you. Hold on. This crisis is going around the world, the coronavirus. It's going to end. But take advantage of the time and ask God to help you to forgive if you have that issue. And maybe you don't have that issue, but ask God just in case. If anybody offends me to the point that it's beyond me in the future, prepare me that I can forgive, okay? And I just also wanted to say, when you forgive, it doesn't mean that you're being foolish. No, you're being wise. It doesn't mean that they're getting away with anything either, okay? But that was my struggle before. So I could tell you by experience. It doesn't mean that there won't be justice if God needs to put down His foot, okay? God will deal with the situation. But you do what's right. You let it go from your heart. Don't hold it against them, okay? And let God deal with you. All right? There's so much to talk about this, but I just want to leave you with this short little message, if I can call it that, okay? God bless you. Love you. And let's keep praying for each other. Goodbye.